Yes, okay. So as y'all know, we come to Huddle to learn important topics. We get knowledge. We leave out of here with knowledge. Y'all give us knowledge, and we have a good time. So y'all know today we coming up close to the March on Washington. Can I see a show of hands of who's going? I need to see everybody in this building. Mr. Gilchrist, are you going? I like what I see. That's good, y'all. So today we're gonna stay on a straight and narrow path. We want everybody to prepare themselves for Washington, and we want y'all to know the reasons why we are going out there to fight for what we are fighting for. So without that being a huge thing on y'all, I'm going to call up Reverend Ron for our opening prayer and scripture, and we're going to start off our huddle right. Give him a hand, y'all.
If we all could just stand for a moment in honor of God and what he's doing in this organization. If we could bow our heads. Father God, we just come before you, just giving you thanks. We offer up all thanksgiving. We love you, oh God. And we just ask you, oh God, to fill this room with your presence, oh God. Fill this room from to conversation, oh Lord. We ask, oh God, that you give us the knowledge and wisdom, oh God, that only you can give to solve the issues in this country and our community that we are facing, oh God. Just as Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho and the walls of Jericho came down so they could go to the promised land, we're asking, oh God, that you march with us, oh God, on March at the end of this month on the 26th, oh God, that all of the things that this country is doing, oh God, and rolling back, oh God, that you help us fight, oh God. They roll back affirmative action, oh God. We're asking for help on that. Voting rights and other issues, oh God. We pray, oh God, that you give us the strength and wisdom. We pray, oh God, that you fill us with your knowledge and your Holy Spirit. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Everybody may take your seats. And we're going to come this evening from 1 John chapter 3, verses 1 to 3. And it reads, it says, "See how very much our Father loves us, for he calls us his children, and that is what we are. But the people who belong to this world don't recognize that we are children of God because they don't know him. Dear friends, we are already God's children, but he has not yet shown us what he will be like when Christ appears. But do know that we will be like him, for we will see him as it is in reality, and all who have this eager expectation will keep themselves pure, just as he is pure." Amen, and the word is blessed. We're back in the hands of our host.
Thank you, Reverend Ron. So now I would like to call up our very only Huddle founder and director, Miss Ashley Sharpton, for our announcements and action alerts. Clap it up.
Happy Huddle Monday, everyone. All right, we are less than 1 week away from the March on Washington. We are 5 days away from this Saturday, August 26th. All roads lead to the nation's capital for the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. National Action Network and the Drum Major Institute have been busy organizing the demonstration, which won't be a commemoration of Dr. King's historic march, but rather a continuation of his fight for freedom, justice, and equality. NAN, Martin Luther King III, and Andrea Waters King have partnered with 60 national organizations representing everything from labor and civil rights groups to Jewish, Latino, Asian, and LGBTQ+ communities. The Unified March will be a collective response to the vitriol, rise in hate crimes, attacks on civil rights and protections, and threats to democracy itself. The time to speak with one voice is now. The March on Washington will convene at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. at 7 a.m. Again, that's 7 a.m. March participants will enter on 17th Street between Independence and Constitution Avenues. Following the program at the Lincoln Memorial, we will march. We will march through the streets of the nation's capital, culminating at the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. The March on Washington will be a cross-cultural and intergenerational demonstration to show that an attack on one is an attack on all of us. You can still join us. In fact, we look forward to seeing you at the March on Washington this Saturday, August 26th. For more information and to register, please visit nationalactionnetwork.net or MOW60 for those if that's shorter, if that's easier for you, or you can call us at 1-877-626-4651. There's still room on the New York City buses. Again, there's still room on the New York City buses. They are all free. Patrice and Dominique are on the way up from the corporate office, but you can speak to Patrice if you still need a seat or you need to reserve anybody's seat in your family, your friends, your church. You can reserve it with her. Or you can just call in, like I said, with the number that I just said, 1-877-626-4651. The phone is ringing right now, so hopefully that's somebody calling to reserve their seat for the bus, all right? Thank you, and you'll hear much about the March on Washington throughout the program. Tonight is all about the March on Washington. We continue the fight. Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful founder. So now we have our Black History Fact of the day. So, by a show of hands, who knows who Nat Turner is? What? Only a few hands? Okay, I'm gonna say this again because I don't know if everybody heard me. Who knows of Nat Turner? A little bit? All right, this is why we're here. This is why we're here. All right, we're gonna give you some facts. So, on August 21st, 1831, Nathaniel Nat Turner launched one of the most historic revolts to end enslavement in Southampton County, Virginia. It lasted 48 hours before armed. White men suppressed the revolt. Turner's rebellion echoed in anti-Black, pro-slavery policies and in the opposing fervor of the abolitionist movements across the United States for decades to come. Taught to read by the son of his enslaver, Turner studied Christianity, which he interpreted as condemning slavery. Turner also began to believe that God had chosen him to free his people from slavery. He soon became known among fellow people in bondage as the prophet. Turner was sold to an enslaver, Joseph Travis, in 1830. Less than a year after the sale, Turner received what he assumed was a sign from God when he witnessed the eclipse of the sun. After sharing this experience with a few close friends, they began to plan an insurrection. While still planning the uprising, Turner saw that the color of the sun had changed to a bluish green, which he believed was the final sign to initiate the uprising. With this confidence, Turner and 7 other enslaved people moved forward with their plans. The fallout of Turner's inspiration and organizing is described in Paul Royster's abstract to the digitized primary source document, The Confessions of Nat Turner, 1831, a biased pamphlet produced for profit by a young lawyer involved in the trials of the rebels. On the evening of Sunday, August 21st, 1831, Turner met 6 associates in the woods at Cabin Pond, and about 2:00 a.m., they began to enter local houses and kill the white inhabitants. Over the next 36 hours, they were joined by as many as 60 other enslaved and free Black allies, and they killed at least 10 men, 14 women, and 31 infants and children. By noon of Tuesday, August 23rd, the insurgents had been killed, captured, or dispersed by local militia. Nat Turner escaped until October 30th, when he was caught in the immediate vicinity, having used several hiding places over the previous 9.5 weeks. The next day, he was delivered to the county sheriff and lodged in the county jail in Jerusalem, now Cortland, Virginia. On November 5th, Nat Turner was tried and condemned to be executed. On November 9th, he was hanged. So, for the people who said that they didn't know Nat Turner, there you are. He is personally one of my favorites, but we're not gonna get into that. So, now I come with you for our huddle report. So like our founder said, today is gonna be based on the March on Washington. So we encourage everybody to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, and tell a family member too. We need everybody with us, as much people as possible. Nothing is ever too much. Nothing is ever too much when it involves us fighting for our Black community as a whole. Nothing ever is too much when we're fighting for ourselves, our life, our dignity, and our respect. So with that being said, we need everybody to join us. We want everybody to come. We want everybody to be united as a family, as a community, and we want to fight for what is right, not what is wrong. So if y'all want to fight for what's right and not what's wrong, y'all gonna come with us. Y'all should come with us. I'm forcing y'all to come with us. No, stop. But we want y'all to come with us, and we want y'all to tell anybody who wants to come with us. We're gonna make sure everybody has what they need. Of course, like our founder said, the buses are free, so anybody can come. You don't have to pay for nothing. So with that being said, I'm going to get into our membership and text alerts. Y'all know I'll be serious about that. So we're gonna get into it. Is everybody an updated member for the year of 2023? By a show of hands. Okay, I know, because I see y'all every Monday, but I just have to ask, you know. We love y'all. We want y'all to be here with us. Y'all make us what we are. So, if you're not a member, this applies to you. The best way to stay informed and in the action is to become a member of NAN. Stay informed about NAN events close to where you live. Text JUSTICE followed by your state to 59769. Again, text JUSTICE followed by your state to 59769. And also a reminder to join us at the Saturday Action Rally every Saturday at 9 a.m. And with that being said, you know, a lot of people ask me, do you ever see the Rev Al Sharpton? Yes, and you can see him too if you go on Saturday. So don't ask me if I see him, because I do. But if you want to see him, if you want to talk to him, if you need his wise words, Saturday is the place to be. So now with that being said, I'm going to open the floor up to any good news. No good news? Oh, come up.
Funny you should mention that. Okay, my good news is I thank God and Jesus for letting me come back to National Action Network today. I really want to apologize to everybody in National Action Network. I want to apologize to the gay people in here. I do have gay friends. I made a comment last week about fags and penitentiary, but this is what's going on with me. I like to keep it 100. I'm a very good person. I like everybody. But since I came back to New York last year, I'm in this bed shelter. Okay, I'm in there with, you know, real killers, real street people. So I have to talk like they do, pretend I'm hard, like them, you know, lose that kind of language. So I was real tired last Monday. I forgot I was in National Action Network, so that kind of slipped. I just want to apologize to everybody. I'm very sorry with all my heart. I've been thinking about it all week. I couldn't go to sleep for a week. So I'm not that person. I get along with everybody. I just want to apologize to everybody for that, including the gays. I have gay friends, and I probably have, okay.
All right. Yeah.
Am I here? Thank you. Well, my name is Reverend McClennan, and I actually really want to take my hat off to Ashley and Dominique Sharpton for what they have been doing for so many years. There's a reason why that I'm saying that, because I have did some statistics about youth and about homeless youth. It is that what I have found that I have started Helping Hearts Heal, Inc. That is Helping Hearts Heal, Inc. What that is, it is a boys, or shall I say a youth home for youths from ages 16 to 24 years of age who are homeless. We're going to provide educational training, development, therapeutic counseling, recreation, getting involved with the community to be able to outsource some of the things that we need to help them. But when I tell you, Ashley, thank you, it's not easy what y'all have been doing. I'm just joining the fight, but I'm glad to be here. So it is Helping Hearts Heal, INC.org. We need volunteers here at the huddle, and y'all gonna see more of me. I'm gonna bring the kids here once we get them and be able to pray for them that they can start college, just like the one that is holding this mic right here. Can we give them some praise? Can we give them some praise? Thank you so much.
That is great news.
Good evening, Youth Huddle. How are you tonight? My name is Anthony Dolce. My good news is that August makes 4 years that I've been a member of the National Action Network. So that's good news. And the second good news is that our Stop False Police Reporting initiative was introduced as a new bill proposal by Senator Kevin Parker and Assemblymember Gibbs. And lastly, I'd like to say, as a member of the LGBTQ community, NAN has always been a safe place for the LGBTQ community to come here and to connect with other people in the Harlem district. And I have personally only felt nothing but love here from everybody in this organization, and that's my good news. Thank you.
I'm loving the good news today, guys.
All right, good evening, Huddle. And that come with a lot of good news. I got calls this morning that out of the Baltimore, Virginia area, I want to make sure I got that correct, that there are 3 LGBTQ buses going to the March on Washington. I'm like jumping up and down, we was at the clinic, lady was looking at me, and I'm like, because he had to take Yvonne to clinic this morning. The lady was looking at me, and I'm going, but that was why. There are 3 LGBTQ buses out of the Baltimore, Virginia area on their way to March on Washington. All right, second good news, guess what? The Cure documentary that we did for PBS that got nominated for an Emmy Award is now going to be made into a television show. Dave was asking me when the television show come on, who did I want to play me? And at first I said Veronica Cox. Then I thought about Niecy Nash, and I guess someplace on there I'll be making an appearance, but stay tuned.
That just goes to show you're never too seasoned to be where you want to be.
All right. Can't wait to find out how much smarter we all gonna be 2 weeks from now, doggone it. 2 things. One, I just renewed my membership, starting my 2nd year as a member here in NAN, yay. And secondly, I especially want y'all sharpness to know what I'm about to say, is that I found out in June, end of June, that Facebook is going to be paying you for promoting and advertising your business pages. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds pretty interesting. I didn't do anything, and they sent me $46. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta go to real work. And their max is $30,000 per month. So I'm saying that so that y'all can figure out how to use your business page, but I'm gonna be doing that because I'm gonna start making money. Thank you, Facebook. Yeah, there you go.
That's great news. All money is good money.
Right. That's great news. I hope everybody heard that. We're live on Facebook. All right, so, good news. How many people here went to Harlem Week this week? Yet? All right, so that's sufficient. We had fun out there. It was good joining the Harlem Week family. Of course, we know GHEC, Lloyd Williams. It's always a good time. Salute to you and your co-founder, Rosa Rivers. But for those who are out there with us, I don't know if Word, I know I saw Word out there. But it was great to honor Reverend Daughtry. Reverend Daughtry is 93 years old. He's a civil rights icon. He's been there since Rev was a little younger, rather not a little boy, but since he was younger, leading the movement and doing the work behind the scenes that's most important. And he's also a spiritual force. His entire family knows the Lord, and that's because of him and his wife. So I just wanted to salute him and salute the Harlem Week family. Congratulations to Bishop Herbert Daughtry, and congratulations to the Harlem Week family on another successful year. Also, lastly, because this weekend we won't be here, so we won't have the Saturday rally to reference. But those of you who tune in, who won't be with us, who's tuning online, who won't be with us in DC, even though everyone should be with us, you can tune in to the radio show. Attorney Hardy will be hosting still, and all announcements and information you can hear from people live on the ground that's in DC. Definitely tune in. And the Monday, not the first Monday, we'll be with the Bernard Plaza family, but I'll announce that. In 2 weeks, on September 11th, I know that's a solemn day for those of us who know, for our young people, I think you guys should know what 9/11 is for. But we wanted to bring some joy to the community and peace, and that's going to be our community day, our back-to-school giveaway. So we're going to have the specifics on that day, but it's going to be September 11th right here. It's going to be right here in the House of Justice and right outside. So just save the date for that, and make sure you join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody's good news was great. Come on, we got the time. We got time today.
Look, I'm 84 years old. I do have senior moments, but I just wanted to let everybody know that I'll be 85 on the 22nd of September, but I wanted to let everybody know there is a prayer vigil that's being conducted within our prayer group for the March on Washington. So I wanted to let everybody know that. And if you think of anything else, I'll let you know. But anyway, they're going to be praying in a prayer vigil. It's 24 hours. Some of the sisters said they were going to fast, but I didn't get exactly whether they're fasting before or after or during the march. But anyway, the prayer vigil will be going on. People will be praying for y'all as you go, and I'll be with you in spirit.
Oh my God, that's so sweet. Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you to everybody that will be praying for us while we are going on our journey to march in Washington. So, since y'all said y'all good news, I'm going to end it off with, my good news is us being together for the March on Washington. I can't express the joy I feel now and the joy I'm going to feel on that day. Just like all of us being together, coming together as one, we're a melting pot of many different cultures. And we're just going to be together and we're going to be mixed all in one pot. And it's just like, it's great. It's a great thing, really. So that's my good news, and I'm happy to be here with you guys. So, since we got through our good news, we are coming up fast on our Did You Know segments, because we're here. So, Did You Know segments, we're telling you things that you might not have known, or maybe you did. But we're here to just tell you about it, inform you about it. So first, we have Mr. Dan coming with our first Did You Know segment. He's going to let you in about his article, and clap it up for him, guys.
Hello, NAN family. Good evening. The article that I'm reading is titled The Religion Corner. 60th anniversary of March on Washington is the most important march ever. About 10 days ago, I received a phone call to go to a meeting with the religious community here in the DMV to meet with National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton, and some of his staff to ask us to help build the crowd. I was invited because I write the Religion Corner column, and my radio show is the oldest gospel station in the nation, Spirit 1340, WYBC, on Radio 1. Because the meeting was about the 60th March on Washington, coming up in about a month, I agreed right away. Reverend Sharpton did come, and I'm happy that I was in the number. The National Action Network staff began by talking about how we must change the national narrative, led by Reverend Marquez Ball and Ebony C. Riley. They shared goals with all of the local leaders from throughout the DC, Maryland, and Virginia DMV area until Reverend Sharpton arrived. Each of us agreed to become ambassadors and to do all we can to help people from the DMV to come out to participate in this year's March on Washington. Sharpton concluded by saying, quote, "The DMV needs to turn out. Our bodies will make a statement. Be a thermostat leader and change the temperatures. If we stand up, God will hold us up." End quote. This year's March on Saturday, August 26th, will feature 60 national organizations across racial, cultural, and generational lines as partners for the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. This year, with all the political ramifications throughout America, this will not be a demonstration nor commemoration, but rather a continuation of the dream. And that's in quotes, y'all. Dr. King outlined at the Lincoln Memorial in year 1963. Now, with democracy under threat and violent hate crimes on the rise, it is essential to galvanize around that dream and push back against the concerted efforts to peel away hard-won civil rights. Reverend Al Sharpton, Martin Luther King III, and Andrea Waters King have brought together people of all walks of life from across the nation. We invite you, especially those of us here in the DMV. Organizers are expecting more than 1,000 buses and are planning for up to as many as 500,000 people to gather at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. on Saturday, August the 26th this year, 2023. Local churches through the DMV have been asked to help build the crowd. In a meeting with religious leaders, I heard Reverend Al Sharpton say, quote, "This march is more important than the first march held 60 years ago," end quote. The pre-program for the event will begin at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the main program beginning at 11 a.m. Following the program, a march will begin through the streets of the nation's capital. Additional details are coming over the next 10 days as organizers continue to confirm buses and participants. Don't stay home in bed watching television. Get up out of bed and get something done. And at the same time, you will be counted in the number. So my question, after reading to y'all is, as a unified people and also a population of stagnated people, how can our presence and influence about the physical March on Washington and its significance be more profound to reflect the urgency to respond to emergent social justice and civil rights concerns, infringing or travailing on the civil liberties of United States citizens as well as global citizens? So if anyone from the audience would like to answer that, I would be receptive to passing the mic along. I can also repeat the question. Does anybody not understand what I said? All right, I'll repeat the question. You're welcome, Sister Kennedy. As a unified people and also a population of stagnated people, how can our presence and influence about the physical March on Washington and its significance be more profound to reflect the urgency to respond to emergent social justice and civil rights concerns, infringing or travailing on the civil liberties of United States citizens as well as global citizens?
Sorry, it's wrapped around a little too much. So I would like to go first, and I want to start by saying, hi, everybody. I'm Giselle, and I'm the lead representative for the Youth Huddle for the National Action Network. So it's the National Action Network, right? This is what we do. We go out there and we fight. So I think to answer Dan's question, if I heard the question right, we're going out there to fight for change. So that day should be people being informed on how to change, on how to fight for what we need to change. And I think when we go out there, it should symbolize us all fighting as one for what we need to change. And with that being said, after that day, there should be like, we set in stone, okay, so we went to this march on Washington on August 26th. And we said what we needed to say, we heard what we needed to hear. So now what are we gonna do after? So after we go, we should be on it. Okay, we need to do this, we need to do that. We need to talk to these people that we need to talk to. So it should be like a learning experience so we can help our community globally and our city in general, our city, other cities, because we're not only fighting for New York or just 145th, like the House of Justice, we're fighting for more than what we are. So I feel like it should be like a learning experience. Like I said, we should go out there, learn how to fight, learn how to change, and then take what we got from that and use it to the best of our abilities. Because we're not coming back here to the House of Justice for no reason. Okay? Okay.
Thank you, Giselle. That was an excellent response.
Mic check. Mic check. You guys can hear me. So the reason why we should go on this march, it's several reasons. Growing up and having experienced domestic violence, nothing changed until we started to holler help, until we went out to the community, we saw the right people to come in and deal with it. A lot of times when you're dealing with abuse, it becomes normalized. You start to say to yourself, it's okay, it's all right. I love this person. And it takes a strong courage to get your fighting spirit back. So this march is to say it's not okay what's going on. We see what's happening, we're paying attention, and we're saying enough's enough. That's why it's important for you to come out and march. So many young people I talk to believe that marches are ineffective. So many people feel like, marching is what they did, let's do something new. And you don't really understand the importance and the strategy of the march. Your issues don't get dealt with unless you press it into the face of the person that's causing you harm. I'm going to say it again. If you do not confront the bully's going to continue to do to you what they're doing. And so it is important that we galvanize together and say enough's enough on August 26th. The issues that we have, which is so many, and they continue to grow. We just got affirmative action stricken down. We have voting rights all over the place. We have so much to fight for. We have so much to vote for. And so it's important that we come together so that we screen what our issues are. America, you are rolling back all the gains that we had since the 60s. And we have so many preachers that are like, oh, just another march. If you're just preaching from your pulpit, but your gospel's not active, what are you doing? And so it's important that we all come together. I prayed before about the walls of Jericho. In order for Joshua to go to the promised land, God told him to march around the walls of Jericho, which was an enemy territory. And they had to march. And in the marching, part of the march is that you have to believe. And so I'm asking for people who believe in the movement, people that believe in change and also believe in the power of God to come out and march. If we march together, change will happen. The Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered, I will be there. So we're not just bringing ourselves, but in unity, we're bringing God himself to the march. There is so much happening. And so we ask you to come out because we can't change it alone. One organization can't do it, but as a people, we can. Fight for yourself. Don't fight for us. Fight for yourself and come out to this march.
Amen. Excellent message. Moving on. Is there anyone else from the audience that would like to speak at this time? If not, I'm going to turn the mic back over to our host for this evening. Do I see someone coming up to the microphone? Yes, I do. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Take your time. Thank you for your response.
One of the things, if I understand it correctly, there is the whole thing in safety in numbers. I think once that people see that we are definitely committed, we ain't taking it no more. And like Reverend Herbert Daughtry said, we fired up and we ain't gonna take it no more. And they expect about 1 million people to show up on Saturday. And we're praying for that to happen around the country. And I do really believe a change is coming. The song says a change is coming. A change will take over from there.
Amen. Sister Kennedy has spoken. Very profound indeed. Welcome, young man. The microphone is here.
So I think in answer to the question is that afterwards that we march, you keep the spirit going, the spirit from the march going, and don't let it die down so that, you affect a couple of people around you and they can affect a couple of people around them so that it doesn't die. We just marched and I see it on TV 2 or 3 weeks. But you just keep the spirit alive and so that you can get the change. Because I noticed that when I asked people, said, hey, what can we do? They said, oh, it's nothing you can do. And I said, that's the reason why it's nothing that can be done. Because you keep saying it's nothing can be done. When you start to say we can, then we will. So if you just keep it up and keep it up and keep it before them and keep it up and keep it before God, then a change will happen. So that's what we have to do to make it more profound.
Thank you. Well spoken. And with that being said, if there are no more guests to the microphone to respond to my inquiry, I'm going to hand the mic to our host for this evening, Giselle.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. I think that was a good question. That was a great question. I'm gonna give you your props. So, for our second Did You Know segment article, we have Mr. Mo Bars. Clap it up. He's gonna let y'all in on his one.
Good evening, everyone. Huddle, huddle, huddle gang. Today's topic is Black women lag in equal pay status. It was a study, 2023. A recently released study said the wealth gap between non-white and white families has increased by $40,000 since the March on Washington took place on August 28, 1963. The study was conducted by the Federation of Protestant Welfare Agencies, an anti-poverty policy and advocacy organization based in NYC. The organization's CEO, Jennifer Jones Austin, said the gap is disturbing, noting the observance of a day, July 23rd, dedicated to African American women workers getting their fair share of pay. As we observe Black Women's Equal Pay Day, we bring attention to the fact that denying Black and brown women fair and equitable wages represents one of the most insidious manifestations of racial and gender prejudice in our country, given its effects on children, family, and communities. Even with advanced educational degrees or high-powered positions, Black women still trail behind their white and female counterparts in receiving ample compensation for their work. Our latest deep dive into the numbers reveals that this stark racial group, Black and brown women, are 0.64 and 0.55% respectively for every $1 white men earn. Austin said the wage inequality doesn't allow women of color to invest in their families they want to, and hinders them from buying a home, starting or investing in a business, or paying for their children's education. Austin said her organization is working to level the pay gap between the genders and the races by eliminating wage and occupational segregation, increase wages, and enforce pay equity laws. So the article is very short, but it poses a couple of questions, in my opinion, that I definitely had, and I wanted to hear both male and female perspectives, of course, preferably females. I wrote 3 questions, and I'm gonna just jump around outside of the order that I initially was going to do. My first question is, do you feel that, let me start here, based on the statistical findings, do you feel strong laws in the U.S. should be implemented to, at least if nothing else, guarantee women of color have a steady salary increase throughout their corporate America careers, among other job industries that they work for? So basically what I'm saying is, should there be a bill written up, and should there be a law passed, even in states, commonwealths, like federal law, that puts Black women, women of color, in a position to where, regardless, maybe every year, maybe every 6 months, a new position, by law and a financial increase should happen, being that it's such a huge pay gap. And we know that our Black women are worth more, they deserve to be in the positions, and with being in those positions, they deserve the bag that come with it, the money, this bag is new slang, but the money that comes with it. So, it's always good to hear about the new title, but what about the new money? The money, right? So my question is basically just come up, tell me how you feel. Should there be a law passed, or should we go about it a different way when it comes to making sure the Black woman has at least headed in a direction of getting equal pay as their white, female, and male counterparts? Should there be laws passed? Come on up. Should there be laws passed to assist Black women in having equal pay or better pay in this country?
Thank you, Mr. Moore. I think that the longer you've been at the job, like for Black women, Black men, the longer you've been there, say you've been there a year, well, they deserve to get a raise. So I agree. I'm saying they should be getting a raise every year. I agree with that.
So you believe that it should be a law passed, though, in all 50 states, that assures that they get that increase? All right.
Hi, God bless you all. So glad that we're here together. I am not concerned about any laws being passed. The judges in the United States Supreme Court already made a decision to cut out affirmative action. So this seems to be another extension of the possibility that we're asking for affirmative action in a different way. So I don't think that's a rational, quick way to get it done. What I believe can be done is these Congress people can form an actual committee to investigate the wage disparities among all people, including Black women. Hold hearings, ask for witnesses who are experiencing wage deprivations, and really do an investigation. And these individual companies that are now complained of will now get audited and be ordered by the Congress people that they are now to increase the wages appropriately for every employee who has been deprived of being properly paid. So I think a committee could be formed like today if they wanted to, not waiting for laws to be passed. They could form a committee to investigate these companies that really do not pay fairly. Thank you.
Okay. But before I give it to you, so basically what she said is kind of like why I asked the question, because let's say we go that route with a committee being created, and they do a financial data analytics and forensics on, and they come to the conclusion that the black women of color in that particular job force, whether it's corporate, whatever, are like simultaneously being paid less than every other race, male or female, in the job workforce. Let's say that committee was created. At some point, we're going to have to merge over into law violation. At some point is going to be a law that comes up that's being violated. Maybe we don't know off the bat which one it is. I'll do the research, but I asked this question because I feel like how either way we take it, we're going to come across having to talk law and bill, depending on the state, whether it's a Commonwealth state or whatever. So I'll just continue on. I just want to throw that in there.
Okay, I didn't know I was coming up here for this. What I'm hearing is that we need to be able to speak the language of the people who have businesses that hire people. And what I mean by that is they have a certain type of jargon that we don't speak. Their jargon is about transactions. How can I get the most out of this conversation, out of this interaction? Where we speak the language of relationships. I care for you, I see you, let's get together. And we need to know how to speak their language so we can outspeak them and get the transactions that we want, particularly for the women, but for everybody. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if somehow we created a union to take care of women.
Union. So union is up there. Okay.
Yes, union sounds good. I want black women to understand that if they feel as though their compensation is unequivocal, that they can complain. So as a result of those complaints, there should be laws that are currently in existence to support investigating those complaints and perhaps auditing those complaints, because I'm not certain if it's public knowledge what each individual under a payroll at a corporation is receiving. I know sometimes that stuff is impermissible to speak about while at work, on duty, on the clock. But if there are those individuals that feel as though they're being underpaid, they're being undermined, they need to complain, and there needs to be an emphasis on the inspection of those complaints and the integrity of the inspection of those complaints. So perhaps we can support the current system that is in effect with more supplementary regulations and enforcement that has to do with responding to those complaints of those women who feel as though, or have proven, in fact, that their pay rates are not representing their capabilities. Now, I hope I use that word unequivocal properly, but what I meant to say is if your pay rate does not equate to what your value is and the asset that you are to an organization as a female identifying person, complain and make sure you follow up about your complaint and do your due diligence to see what it is that your title merits monetarily. So that way, if you are complaining, you're an informed complainant, and perhaps, in fact, there will be more laws in the future that will support those types of investigations that should result in more equilateral payment that's not delineative from a mean based on colorism.
Okay, so we're at union committee. So quickly, just throw in there, let's say, sometimes an excuse where if you're dealing with a union committee, is like in some workforces, let's say Brenda, black woman, Karen, white woman, both same position in corporate America. Let's say just for instance, Karen, as far as education, may have that master's or may have that bachelor's. Brenda got hired, she's in the process, she has an associate's, but she's in the process, currently going to school to get that bachelor's or that master's. And when it comes to time to give promotion or pay bumps, Karen gets that or all the Karens on the job get that. And when a union or a committee goes before them and asks them, hey, why is this going on? This woman, Brenda's in the same category, you know, things like, well, she doesn't have her degree yet, so that's why she didn't get the same salary that these Karens got. You know, those are the type of things that, you know, they'll throw as a cosmetic excuse to why they paid Karen that X amount of dollars as opposed to Brenda. So I'm just throwing that in there also as we go.
Hi again. So I'm not too much informed on this topic, but because this could be me one day because I'm a black young lady, I think that since it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna originally get to law because that's something that, you know, that correlates with. I think that instead, of course, I agree with the union and the committee, but since we already know it's gonna get there eventually, we should start mapping out what elected officials we're gonna talk to that's gonna, you know, help us with this issue. Which ones deal with this type of issue, because just because this could be me one day, I'm willing to fight for my money. Like, listen, I got this education, I got my high school diploma, I'm about to go to school to get my nursing degrees and be in the military. So because I'm serving this country and I got all my academics that I need to get, I'm willing to fight for the black women in my community to get the money that they're owed. So I think we should go to see what elected officials is under these problems and speak to them directly and still form our committees and our unions to show them that we're serious and we already got all the statistics and we know what we're doing. So they don't run over us, just that.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Thank you and good afternoon, or evening. Teresa Bullard here. Long-term member of National Action Network, visiting. Teresa Bullard, long-term member of National Action Network. I love the huddle. I love National Action Network work and what they do as a civil rights organization. What I'm speaking to right now, I guess, is this young lady because she has all the credentials. She has her degree. She's in college. She knows what she's going to do for the next 4 or 5 years. But is she also aware of the resistance to her dream in this everyday world? Many black women are not, okay? Educated black women, especially college-educated black women. I'll give you an example. Sandra Bland, an educated black woman, educated in a historical black university, an activist, someone who knew what she was going to do when she finished college, and she came back to the South, Prairie View, to do that. And excuse my language, I'm a Texan, but she was killed on sight. She was targeted on sight. Within 72 hours, she was incarcerated. So I say that to say this. Don't think for one moment they don't know who you are, especially in the community, especially as an activist. Do you think they support your activities for civil rights, for human rights? Do you think they're going to allow you to make the same amount of money as your counterpart? Do you think the voting rights legislation is written in stone? Come on, nothing's written in stone. Martin Luther King was a religious man. I'm from the South. I was 8 years old when my sister was there in Washington. I'm the 7th of 9 children. I come from a faith-based family. We say teachers and preachers. Need I say more? I love this organization. I would encourage every chapter in the country to establish some type of desk. Well, people, especially women, can walk in and say, look, I have a plan and I need your support. I need your platform if necessary. I need you, by me, climbing the steps to success. And if that happens, then everything will be much easier. Know that Black women of color, sorority, position, whatever, know that they are targets in this everyday world. Anyone working on human and civil rights, know that. Thank you.
Young lady.
Hi, everyone. I'm a little bit nervous with public speaking, so if I stutter or anything like that, just bear with me. Oh, can you not hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay. Thank you. My name is Ariana. I'm 20. I'm a rising senior at my university. And yeah, that's basically my spiel. As far as your question with the laws for... Oh, I'm so sorry. This is really hard. Okay.
It's all good. Take your time.
As far as like the laws for women getting raises, I really do think there should be a law for that because I think it was Dan that was saying this. I think if there's no law, you have no argument. There's nothing for you to stand on if you want to go to court and fight for your rights. So I forgot what your name was. I'm sorry, but
Mo.
Mark.
Mo.
Okay. So his argument was that like if you want to go to court, like or if you want to like bring your argument to court and say, okay, they're not paying me enough. If you want to bring that to court or bring that to your employer, to HR, whatever, when you go to them, they're going to say, oh, yeah, you don't have your degree. She has her degree, so I'm paying her more. You have this, and they have that. They have more than you, so I'm paying them more. You have no argument to stand on if there's not a law for you to bring to the court. So I think if there's a law and if Black women have something to bring to the court and say, this is my argument, this is my case, these are my facts, you have something to stand on, and that is something that you can bring to the court and fight, and other people can attach onto that and bring their case to the court. Like I was saying, if you have no law, there's no argument. As far as like the annual pay raise, I think obviously within bounds, like you can't just like be paying someone $100,000 just because they're a Black woman, like, you know. But if you pay them a fair wage and if there's an annual pay raise, I think, let me see. No, I actually think that is a good idea because I feel like there's a rise in Black women going into higher education, but there's not a rise in Black women going to corporate America. And that's because there's no equal pay. There's a rise in Black women going into entrepreneurship because, I forgot who was saying this, but there's Black women who need to provide for their family, and entrepreneurship is a way that Black people have been able to get a wage that they can support their family on. But I think in corporate America, although there are problems with corporate America, that's a way for Black people to rise. And obviously entrepreneurship is a good way as well, but everyone, like, there can't be 40,000 million entrepreneurs. There has to be people in every profession. There has to be representation in every profession. So if you have Black women in corporate America who are being paid an equal wage, there's more motivation to go into corporate America and to have Black women in these fields where we are not being represented. So I think if you have the motivation of a law where you can base your argument on, if you have the motivation of equal wage and you have people saying, okay, I can afford to go into corporate America because I will be paid a wage where I can afford to support my family, I think that is more motivation for Black women to be in these fields. And I think without those two things, there's no motivation for people to be there. Yeah, so that's what I think.
Thank you so much. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna just jump into my next quick question, and then I'll do a brief summary. Okay, so the next question was, do you feel that the fact African American women having to deal with such a life-altering pay gap in the U.S. workforce trickles down to the widely social media discussed topics of many Black women desiring men with six-figure salaries out the gate to be their counterparts? So, you know, I see the audience. I know a lot of y'all not on social media, but on social media, some of the top debates in Black social media. When I talk about this, I always talk about Black social media. I don't know nothing about Latino, Caucasian, and Asian multimedia. All I know is Black social media, and I study what goes on there with those algorithms. And the topics that get discussed between Black women and Black men, not 14 to 21, 21 to 37, 37 to 52 is the Black man and the Black woman, and who should have this much money, splitting the rent, going down 50-50, and all this stuff. Do you feel that these type of statistics that's being taken, is there a connection, a pipeline to those type of conversations where, you know, you see a lot of black women saying, I need a man who has this out the gate. He has to have this credit score. He has to have maybe even a degree, his own house, his own car. Everything has to be set. And some of the reason being for that is because even though I'm working and doing my thing, I gotta have that plus, because you know they always say I have my own, but a man having all of that is always a plus. It's nothing else but a plus, because it's not yours, it's a plus. So when it comes to those debates, and these are the same women that are debating on social media, are the same women that are dealing with these statistics. These are the same women. There's not a different set of black women. It's just the same black women that's working, and I'll even narrow it down to this generation. Let's just say between 18 and let's go to 32. You know, there's a lot of young girls that are getting degrees faster, moving into corporate America quicker. But like the young lady said, it's a lot of women who are entrepreneurs because they skipping all of that because they feel like they know their worth. They feel like they don't want to waste their time working for somebody else. This generation after me is real big on not working for somebody else and helping somebody else fulfill their dream. Like my generation, the generation before us, you guys taught us to work and get out there and work and have a job, have an income. This generation is like, nah, I ain't working for nobody. I need my own. They make their own money on their own. Like, I'm not coming in every day slaving a 9 to 5 for somebody else, and I'm only getting such, you know, dollars an hour. You seen what happened with UPS recently. They just recently, all their truck drivers are now getting a 6-figure salary for the next 5 years after all of that fighting. And if you see a UPS worker, those guys work super hard on those trucks. So my question, I guess you're going to ask first, do you feel like there's a correlation between these statistics and how the discussion happens on social media?
Well, me being a person in Gen Z, and yes, Gen Z.
My generation, we're X. We're Y.
Y'all, Gen Y. Okay, I'm Gen Z. So generation, my generation, finicky. But because I'm also on social media and I do see a lot of what Mo is talking about, I feel like I could come up here and speak a little bit, you know. But mainly I do see a lot of females saying, black women, saying that they need a man, you know, you gotta be at my level or or higher. Mostly, I feel like the black female, not me personally, but as a whole, we go through a lot with men and not having jobs. Like, black female will have a job and be the only woman making the income in the household. Like, she'll be the only person making an income. I personally seen, you know, my mom make money, and then, you know, her counterpart was just a little lazy, you know, didn't have no job. So I understand where that comes from. If the woman is correlating that to that, I understand that. Of course, you know, you don't want a man who's not on his job. I do feel like in a way it does decrease their wages, because also on social media, I see a lot of women who's at work and they're on social media making little videos and stuff, and they also say that decreases their wages because they go to social media and, like, you see the nurses talking about their patients. So wages that they're supposed to be making, that's supposed to be good, like $30 an hour, it decreased them to like 25 or 20 because they're on social media doing a TikTok. Like, nowadays, social media affects everybody. It literally does. And you have a job. If you have a job and you're at work, you're not supposed to be showing your patients, like, you know, just exploiting what you do. So I've actually heard that, you know, a lot of women on social media say that they've posted a video while they were at work and now they're not getting paid what they used to get paid. So I do think that ties in with each other now in this day, because it's social media. Like, everybody can see your job, can be under a fake account and see what you're doing. And it's just like, wow, it's either you lose your job or you get decreased in pay. So I do agree that that correlates, and also I do also agree that it's not only about that. I do feel like what y'all said was true about the degrees. Is different. Like, you know, Caucasian people, they're more accessible to academics than we are. You know, we had to fight for our right to go to school. They didn't. They always had academics. They're more prone to have families who are more wealthy enough to buy them books when they go to college, laptops if they need. We are unfortunate enough to not have as much as they have. So when we go into these companies and we're fighting for our money, well, it's just like, well, he does his job exceptionally well because he had his time to grow up and study this, but you had to work for it, and I understand that you worked for it, but you just not on his level. And they may be equally smart because, as we know, melanated people are more, knowledgeable. So, but they may be as equally smart, but on that paper, if it shows that Brenda did not get the education that Karen did, it's raps. Oh, Brenda, you're getting $18 an hour, and Karen, she's gonna get 30 because she went to Harvard, she went to this school, Yale, all the Ivy League schools, and you went to Hostos, you went to this place and that place, you went to HBCU. That's it.
Yes, Ms. Word?
Okay, well, I just learned a lot about the social media and how, I don't even understand how that's legal because someone posts something on social media, now their salary is affected. So that sounds illegal to me, but I'm going to skip that because I don't really understand that. All right, so in my understanding of what was just said to us, they need to really go on a dating site where they could really be particular about what they require in a relationship. To just arbitrarily put it out there without really a basis of understanding historically, there are wage deprivations, there's job deprivations going on. So it seems like some of these women who are posting this information about wanting a black man who earns a six-figure is not dealing in reality. They're not dealing because they don't understand or they don't know really what's going on. But if this is something they really want, they need to form a dating site, six-figure man wanted type of thing, like do that, and see what type of responses you really get, so let's try to keep it real. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenny?
Go right there. Listening to what you said and that you go on, I wonder, do these black women that are having these complaints, was ever thought about a class action suit to corporate America? Because I've noticed, a lot of times, people file these class action suits, and then the next thing you know, things are getting settled, and people are like, okay, rather than to have to deal with this, we will give them what they need. So I think that, that's just, I was just thought about that. Is that something that could be possible? Since you deal in the black media, it'd be something that you could, suggest that black women get together and form a class action suit against corporate America to come up with what they really need. All right.
Thank you, Reverend Kenny. And that's going back to law again. Young lady?
Okay. So I found it funny, not funny, but it was just interesting that you mentioned the Ivy Leagues and stuff because I go to Yale, and as you guys all know, yeah, but as you guys know, that's a PWI, and there's only 7% of black people at my PWI. And if you want to get into black men, there's even less black men in my PWI. To go more into that, most of the black men at my PWI are athletes. So that's, and my friends make fun of me because I only date black men. And like I just said, there's not, there's not a lot of black men in my school. So to get to your question, I just think that all these issues that we're talking about are connected in the sense that they are all based on lack of security. Black women want to date up because they want to be secure. Black women want to become entrepreneurs because they want to be secure. Black women want to do all these other things that will rise them to that 6-figure level, 7-figure level, or whatever, because they want to be secure. And because of all these systematic issues, there's a lack of security in the Black community when it comes to finances. And I think when you get to the people on social media who see all these Jada Wadas, Aries, and all these people with BBLs and all this stuff, when you see all that on social media, people in my generation, they want to live that lifestyle because that is a lifestyle that from the outside looks secure. You see all these women with millions, rapper boyfriends, all this stuff, they look secure. Their life looks perfect. But as someone was just saying, that's not reality. These people still have to do their business things behind the scenes. They still have to handle all their stuff behind the scenes. They have kids, they have all this stuff. Black women who are not, for lack of better terms, on that level, because that's problematic, but who are not at that financial level deal with the same things. They just don't have the same amount of money. And I think when you want to aspire to be like these people who are dating these men, these 6-figure, whatever, and you see that lifestyle and you want to aspire to do that, that's when they don't want to go into corporate America. They want to become entrepreneurs. They want to get that fast money so they can rise to that level quicker. And I think, like I was saying before, all of that is fueled by lack of security. And if we can attack the base problem of the financial insecurity and all those problems in the Black community, then that will eliminate some of the dating issues where these women are going for the men that are already set, financially set. And yeah, I think that's the main problem, because I don't think if all those things were non-issues that Black women would only be going for those type of men. So yeah.
Thank you, young sister. Yes, Sister Yale. All right. So just to give a brief summary, I asked that because, class action suit, union, committee, those are three great ideas. And the woman in this article that already has an organization, and she already was in a situation. I have to pull up the exact article, and I'll pull it up for next Monday. But I asked those questions because when it boils down to this, there's something missing. There's something wrong. There's something incorrect. Something's afoot. We've been bamboozled, run amok when it comes to our Black women and what they should earn. Now, going back to the generation where you guys were in, you guys didn't have social media. But there was still this issue with women as a whole, all races, not even being able to work certain jobs, couldn't be cops or whatever. So y'all was dealing with a whole different type of monster before people like Giselle and myself, the young lady, was even thought of. Now going and fast forward, we still have the same issue with women our African American women being paid a respectable wage, and now we have this element of social media. The reason why I asked that question is because social media wasn't during our time, so y'all didn't have that monkey wrench. This is why social media can be a gift and a curse, because basically what she was explaining about these women or people in general at jobs, whether like a lot of nurses, that film their patients. They're supposed to film their patients. I know Ms. Word says she didn't really quite understand that. Basically what it is that people are, they feel like they have to document everything they do. Like if you're at work, you shouldn't even be on your phone anyway. Work your hours, shift, come home, and get back online. They have to show everything during work. The social media right now is so bad because it's a clout-seeking platform. Instagram is a picture-sharing platform before anything. As you've seen the internet progress into today, it started with things like LimeWire, when you was just able to download stuff, Napster, download music. Then we got MySpace. When MySpace hit, it was still simple. It was like the mobile phone for that young generation, and then MySpace graduated into Facebook when Facebook was only taking college students. You couldn't get on Facebook if you weren't in college. And then Twitter came along to counter that. Everybody was on Twitter, but people didn't really get Twitter yet because Twitter was just sharing 140 characters of how you felt every hour on the hour. But then Instagram came along, and Instagram was topping all of them because it was a picture-sharing platform. You can see, and somebody told me the other day that, we as a people are visual. He gave me an example, like you see a man pull up in a Toyota Corolla to the hood and talk to these young guys about a deal or a plan, and, just got to give them some startup money. They're going to look at him like, man, please. But somebody pull up in a Rolls Royce or a Phantom, and they tell you, man, this is how I got that, they'll be ready to give you their mother's social security just because they see the visual, they see it right there, it's before their eyes. Like she was saying, like some of the young women, since we're talking about African American women, some of the young women she just named, they're known as social media influencers. Now, a lot of these girls the reason why they even have a claim to fame is because they're the baby mother or the former girlfriend to a rapper or athlete. That's their fame right there. That's what sparks it. From there, they'll start an eyelash line, makeup line. They'll just create something, go get surgery, and this is the social media I'm lit startup kit that I'm giving you right now, so you can know what's going on. They'll go get the surgery, they'll start a mink or an eyelash line, they'll make an OnlyFans, they'll dance all day long. It's just a picture sharing platform. It's very visual, and you have people looking from the life that they're living, whether they live in NYCHA housing, Section 8 and all that, and they're looking at all these people going to these nice restaurants, flying out to Dubai, flying out to the Maldives. They got to be right back to where they lived at by Monday morning. It's just a trip for the weekend. Like, it's really a big fabrication, and you guys should be really glad that Instagram wasn't around during the civil rights movement, because y'all really been going through some stuff. I picture it all the time. If Instagram was in the civil rights movement, it would have been bad for y'all. So I know you really can't understand the bridge, so I'm just trying to explain how much social media is a monkey wrench in what we have going on. So when we're fighting for, these equal pay wages for African American women, we need to really gauge and understand where social media is messing up what we got going on, and we just have to, the pendulum has to swing. We have to change the initiative and make it understandable of what's going on, because those little things that go on Instagram is messing up what we're trying to do when we're trying to get these women to fair pay wages. You know what I'm saying? And in reality, no woman dates every man that has six figures. They'll make it seem like every boyfriend they had has six figures. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. But I do know that those same women that are in this survey are the same women that we see on the internet every day. And, people are just tired in this day and time. People are just tired of being broke. People want to live lavish. People want to feel like they live lavish, even if it's for a couple of days. Like they're just living in a matrix. It's an unreal world when you sign on and you never log off. So, that just summarizes my story for today. I'd like to talk further about it in the back. I got a lot more to talk about. Thank you. I'm going to pass this digital on back to G Money.
Yeah, don't call me that, y'all. Y'all gotta call me something different. Everybody make a nickname for me, and I'll make a nickname for y'all too. All right, so yours truly, I'm next. So we have mass student loan forgiveness emails sent as challengers appeal to block debt relief. This is for you, young lady. So, the Biden administration is implementing a sweeping student loan forgiveness initiative with hundreds of thousands of borrowers receiving notifications in the last week that their balances have been discharged. Meanwhile, two conservative organizations, it doesn't say which, are appealing their legal challenge to a federal circuit court to try to block any further relief. Their initial challenge was rejected by a federal district court judge last week. Here's where things stand. During the last week, over 800,000 borrowers have received emails from their student loan servicers notifying them that their balances have been discharged. Congratulations, the Biden-Harris administration has forgiven your federal student loans listed below in full, says the text of standardized notice. The emails were sent directly to borrowers by the Education Department's major student loan servicers, including Nelnet, AidVantage, and Mohila. The relief is being provided through the IDR account adjustment, a temporary initiative that allows the government to credit borrowers with past periods toward loan forgiveness under income-driven repayment plans. These plans, which tie a borrower's monthly payment to their income and family size, typically provide for student loan forgiveness after 20 or 25 years in IDR. But many borrowers were excluded from relief or had their loan repayment periods lengthened due to long-standing administrative problems associated with the IDR programs. This debt relief was processed as part of the Biden-Harris administration's one-time account adjustment because your student loans have been in repayment of at least 20 or 25 years, says the email to borrowers approved for student loan forgiveness. An adjustment to your account updated the number of payments that qualify toward income-driven repayment, IDR, forgiveness. The student loan forgiveness emails sent in the last week confirmed that borrowers will not have to pay federal income taxes on the discharge balance, although state tax treatment of this type of loan forgiveness may vary. Due to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the balance of your loans that were forgiven is not considered taxable income for federal income tax purposes, says the email. Since state and local tax implications will vary, we recommend you contact a tax advisor for more information, The Education Department should update borrowers' accounts to reflect the discharge and a new zero balance on their credit reports and on studentaid.gov in the coming weeks. The department will be running the account adjustment again in September and in November, so additional borrowers may qualify for student loan forgiveness before the end of the year. Borrowers who have not yet taken steps to qualify for the relief still has a limited window of time to take action. Meanwhile, a group of conservative organizations tried to block the student loan forgiveness and other debt relief provided by the IDR account adjustment. A federal district court rejected their arguments last Monday, dismissing their lawsuit on the grounds that the groups have not demonstrated that they would incur a concrete injury directly resulting from the initiative. But the challengers filed a notice of appeal last Tuesday indicating that they will continue to try to block the debt relief at the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. Neither the challengers nor the Education Department have released formal statements regarding the ongoing legal battle, although the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, one of the organizations challenging the loan forgiveness program, confirmed they are appealing. Student loan forgiveness just got easier for these borrowers. So, okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm good. Anything else I need to tell you guys? So we're good. So that is what my article was about. So as you know, this is one of the reasons why the March on Washington is important, because our work is not done with a lot of things such as student debt. And if you feel like young students such as myself and our uprising senior from Yale deserve a great academic life without stressing about the struggles to pay off student debt, then of course, this is one of the things that we are fighting for on the March on Washington. So if you feel like, we deserve a chance, because I'm also gonna be an upcoming college student, as I would like to say, then you should come with us to the March on Washington. We're fighting for many different things, but I have one question. Do you have student debt? No offense, you don't have student debt. Did you go to Yale on a scholarship? Oh, you could come up. Tell us. Let us in.
So what Yale does is they do their whole payment process through financial aid. And what's crazy is that actually I get paid to go to school. So my family makes less than what most families at Yale make. So they give you, what'd you say? Oh, sorry. So they give you whatever they think, they give you in financial aid whatever they think it will cost you to go to school, including books, all that stuff. So I actually get a refund check back, which is obviously giving me money to attend my school. And what I think is crazy about that is that I have friends who go to HBCU, I have friends who go everywhere, and they are paying thousands of dollars, and they have thousands of dollars in debt and loans to go to whatever respective school they choose to go to. And that's crazy to me because why should I be getting paid to go to school? I'm getting money back to attend my university. And there's people here who are paying until their 30s and 40s, 50s monies to attend universities that they attended 30 years ago. I think that's really unfair, and I think that's a barrier to higher education. And I think that if you could eliminate that problem, it would be better because that takes people away from their communities. I originally wanted to go to Howard University, but my family couldn't afford to send me there. So that's bringing me away from an HBCU where I wanted to attend, where I wanted to be with my people, to a PWI just because I needed to afford that education. And yes, I love my school, whatever, but that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to an HBCU so I could be with my people, so I could get a black education, so I could do all those things, but I couldn't financially afford to go there, which is crazy. So yeah.
Well, that is new. You see how we learn something new every day? That's new to me. She's from Yale. That's an Ivy League school, as we know. They're paying her to go to school. I would think it would be the same as what she just said, the HBCUs, all the other college universities. I am shocked. Maybe I need to go to Yale. Hi, Yale. I'm here as well. You know, I'll up the percentage on the black people at Yale, you know. Wow. I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? No. Of course. Of course. This is our open space. Come on, y'all.
I don't exactly remember the year, but there was a group put together in New Haven, Connecticut, and it was called Fairhaven Parents Union. And they were talking about, at that time, a professor was at Yale Divinity School, talking about the fact that they needed more people of color at Yale. And so the idea was born, let me see, my son was about 8 or 9 years old. So this had to be a good 40 years ago or better. And they decided that they were going to try this as a program. And it came out of Fairhaven Parents Unity out of Yale Divinity School. Professor Bob Jones was the one that initiated the program. And the idea was to attract more of people of color to Yale. So Professor Bob Jones, I can't quite remember the name of, there were a couple of doctors that was involved, but Yale New Haven played a part in getting students to come. And this was about 40 or 50 years ago.
And when she says, I know she looked good, right? She's 84. So, anybody else? Come on. I know, public speaking, such a crime.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I am so proud of you. I am in awe of you. And if you ever, a lot of people don't realize this, but Yale is so close to get you. You just get on that Metro North and get off at New Haven. I used to take students there all the time. If you ever have anything, I would love to support you, and I will be on that Metro North up there to support any program that you have or anything that you're doing. Just let me know. I will be right there.
Yes, us all. And so I say this, and you should join us too on a March on Washington if, okay, I just got excited. Y'all should all be excited. Let's clap that up. She's coming with us. This is one of the things that we are fighting for. I know you don't have any, student debt, but you said that your friends do, and this is what we're fighting for. We're fighting to relieve your friends' debt. So, we all help each other. You just let us in on some new information that we didn't know, except for Mother Kennedy. She's the smartest, the wisest. So that's good. That concludes my Did You Know? I wanted you guys to be informed of the recent information about student debt relief and student debt in general. And also just inform you guys on why this is important, because this is one of the things that we are fighting for. So with that being said, for our next Did You Know, I would like to call up Mr. Reverend Ron. Please give him a hand.
Let's give it up for Giselle, y'all. Let's put our hands together for Giselle. She's doing such a wonderful job. My Did You Know may not be as juicy as the past ones. We had some juicy conversations tonight. I'm going to go home and think about some of this stuff. The article that I'm going to be read, the title is called Legal Scholars Increasingly Raise Constitutional Argument That Trump Should Be Barred from Presidency. So I want your comments to get ready. I'm going to give you the question before I read the article, and I also pose it at the end. And the question is, how could allowing Trump to appear on the ballots in 2024 affect American social unrest? So it starts by saying, prominent conservative legal scholars are increasingly raising a constitutional argument that 2024 Republican candidate Donald Trump should be barred from the presidency because of his actions to overturn the previous presidential election result. The latest salvo came Saturday in Atlantic Magazine from liberal law professor Lawrence Tribe and J. Michael Lateef, the former federal judge and prominent conservative who argued the 14th Amendment disqualifies the former president from returning to Oval Office. The people who wrote the 14th Amendment were not fools. They realized that if those people who tried to overturn the country, who tried to get rid of our peaceful transition of power, are again put in power, that would be an end to the nation, the end to democracy. Tribe told CNN Case Hunt on State of the Union on Sunday. Lateef, who's become a strong critic of Trump's actions after the election, called for officials to look carefully at his qualifications for being on the ballot. All officials, federal and state, who have a responsibility to put the ballot candidates for the presidency of the United States are obligated under the Constitution to determine whether Donald Trump qualifies to be put on the ballot. Not all the legal community agree with Pear's constitutional argument, and what the scholars are proposing would need to be tested in court. So yet, Lateef and Tribe's writings capture a conversation about the Constitution and the 2021 insurrection that is likely to grow headed in 2024 election season. They and others base their argument on a reading of the part of the 14th Amendment, a post-Civil War provision that excludes from the future office anyone who previously, as a sworn-in public official, engaged in insurrection or rebellion or had given the aid or the comfort in the enemies of the government. The pair write, having thought long and deeply about the text, history, and purpose of the 14th Amendment disqualification clause for much of the professional careers, both of us conclude some years ago that, in fact, a conviction would be beside the point. The former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election and the resulting attack on the U.S. Capitol place him squarely within the ambit of the disqualification clause, and he is therefore ineligible to serve as president ever again. Tribe expand on the message in a joint interview with Lateef on CNN Saturday evening, calling it a monumental issue, the most important constitutional issue of our day. So stay tuned. So the question is, this is the question now, how could allowing Trump to appear on the ballot in 2024 affect American social unrest? How do you feel that would affect our country if he is allowed to be on the ballot after the insurrection, after all of the indictments, and all the situations that he's put this country through? How do you feel that would affect this country?
Yeah, it's affecting the country. This is low. I can't even hear myself. Thank you. Yeah, it's affecting our country right now. The fact that he is being allowed to campaign and he has these high, polling numbers. But the reality is, in listening to this brother read the law, that's why I'm not too keen on dealing with law as it is, because they could easily, and they should have made a correction immediately, and they haven't. Whatever this process is to bring laws into effect, it's just not done quick enough as far as I'm concerned. They should have really eliminated him immediately after January 6th. They should have put a law in immediately and stopped him right there. So now they're trying to use certain sections of the Constitution Amendment 14, but that law is not written really clear enough to make it really clear that he can be disqualified. So because it's vague, they got to take it to court. And then you take it to court, it's going to be stretched out. In the meantime, the person is still campaigning. So this is why I believe, I don't really understand how the lawmakers really operate, but I really believe that they form a committee, they could really get a law, at least put it out there immediately that they're going to make the law real clear and make it real plain that any president who really caused there to be forced electors, gerrymandering, and anything else to really water down the power of people to vote should never be afforded an opportunity to run for president ever. Make it real clear just like that. No vagueness, because that's sometimes the problem with law, where you got to go to court because the English language is just not clear enough to really shut what needs to be shut down real clear. So here we go, because it's vague, he's going to be campaigning until these lawmakers really understand, do your job and pass laws really quick. But I know it's going to be opposition to that now because the houses are split. But at least it'll show the people who really want to believe that the politicians understand what's necessary. At least put it out there. They want to now make this law disqualifying Trump. But not Trump in particular, any other person who really want to follow what Trump has done. It cannot be done any longer if they make the laws real clear. Because right now, the law doesn't even matter. The man is breaking laws regularly, and nothing's being done about it. So basically, it's because the laws are not written that clear. So they're going to take things out, drag it to court. It's going to be another delay. So lawmakers, if any of you are watching, if you have the authority to really make it real clear on what qualifications are necessary for certain people to run for the presidency, make it real clear. Make it real clear that anybody who has done anything that this President 45 has done would never be afforded an opportunity to run for the presidency again. Thank you.
Evening. What it's doing is showing that a lot of Republic people, especially those people that are following Trump, it shows that they are above the law. Because a lot of stuff that they're doing, they're getting away with. And while they're getting away with it, it shows, no offense to anybody in here, shows all white people that they could do something and get away with it, especially if they do it to a black person or they doing it in the name of somebody like Trump, where they could get away with it, where he stated that if he's made president, anybody that was convicted, he would pardon. So therefore, a lot of times when people come into a situation like that where he was the top man of the country and he's doing stuff, it doesn't look good to anybody that's against him. Blacks, whites, whoever, it doesn't look good. Because what he's doing now, he's making it so that all people will be against all people, because you have your neighbor. If your neighbor is standing for Trump and you don't like Trump, you ready to fight. And if they do something that you see them, you ready to bring it to them all kinds of ways, because of the fact that you know what he's doing is not right, and a lot of people stand up for wrong and right. If he was black, he would be in jail already. If he was a white person that stood for the blacks, he would be in jail already. Or they would, impeach, they would impeach him. So therefore, what he's doing, he's he's tearing the country apart. He's putting the white people that's for him on one side and everybody else on the other side, and everybody is ready to fight because of what they see is not right. And a lot of times what happens when a person does this, they don't own up and say, I was wrong, or forgive me, because when you say that, people are against you, but sooner or later it's forgotten. But as long as he stays where he stands now, it's always going to be opposition throughout this country, because all of the races are standing on one side, and all of the white people that's for him is on the other side. And what they doing right now is they're going to clash. And God forbid, if some white people come down there to the march and talk about Trump, I just hope and I pray that all of us people that are standing up for our rights remain cool no matter what happens, because if we allow them to get us riled up, it's going to be some kind of fight.
You know, first of all, I'm 84 years old. I do not understand how in the hell, and I'm saying hell, that this man got 14 indictments against him. In any other country, he'd have been shot at sunrise. You know, they would turn around and say he was committing treason. Here in the United States, he's getting away with it, which makes the rest of the United States around the world a laughing stock. And then also, people in other countries think, oh, him and Putin are in cahoots together. And is this country trying to move toward monarchy? Oh, hell no. But the thing is, got to get this man down and out of office. Any other country, he would have been shot for treason. Over here, they're just trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but he's got to go.
We're not suggesting at all that Trump be shot or executed in any way.
I just think Trump being allowed to be on the ballot has really, really, really dangerous implications, both politically and socially. I think on the political end, I want to go into law, so I'm like, this is my cup of tea. But politically, I just think it makes our democracy a laughingstock. If you can have someone in the highest position in office do the things that he's done, committed all the atrocities that he's done, still be allowed to run for president and go again for a second term, I just think that's really dangerous. And for him to encourage a large part of our country to go and attack our government officials and be allowed to attack our government officials, and for basically, there was some arrests and whatever, but basically for that to go unpunished, I think that is very, very dangerous. And there's other political implications. During his term, there was 4 vacancies in the Supreme Court, and Trump was able to elect 4 Supreme Court justices. So even if this was to go to the Supreme Court and they would use all these constitutional arguments to bring him to the Supreme Court, he has 4 people under his belt. That's 4 out of 9. So, like, come on, the math is showing you that whatever happens, he will basically go unpunished. And I just think that should not be allowed. Socially, like the woman who just spoke right before me, there's social implications because I just came from studying abroad in Italy, and I stayed with my host family, and in Italy they don't really show Italian news, they show news from everywhere. So there was all this news on like Trump and blah, 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 and she was laughing, and I was like, what's so funny? Like, not too much of my country, you know? So I was like, how do Italians feel about the American government? And she was like, if he can run for president, I can run for president. That should not be allowed. If you can allow anyone in office to do all these things, for her to make that comment and say an Italian citizen can come and just mosey on over to the US and just do whatever she wants, that sets the precedent for everyone around the world to laugh at our country. And I think if there's no blockade for people to do these type of things is just going to continue. And if you don't have the laws in place, keep in mind, Supreme Court justices serve for life. So if he was able to elect all these people into the Supreme Court, that's why we're having all of these amendments to all the things that we have fought for since the Civil Rights era. All these things are being overturned because we have all these Supreme Court justices that, for lack of better terms, don't agree with all the advancements we have made since then. So since he was able to elect all these people, any other thing that comes after him that are basically atrocities like he's done will potentially go unpunished. So like I said, I just think that's very, very, very dangerous. And it just sets bad precedents for people who will come after him if it goes unpunished and he's able to stay on the ballot. So, yeah.
Hi again. So I just wanted to echo off of what my peer said. I feel like socially it's also dangerous because I was just having a conversation with our Huddle founder, Miss Ashley Sharpton. I was telling her how I was speaking to my friends who are not into politics at all and who don't have a clue what Donald Trump has really done to our world. So I was saying, they was like, oh, most of them are eligible to vote now, and, stuff like that. So we was having a conversation about it. I'm like, oh, who would you, vote for? And they're like, oh, I'm voting for Donald Trump. So now I had to sit back, and I asked them, I said, why? Because I'm not going to say you're wrong. Now I want to know why. So I asked them why. They're like, oh, because, in COVID, the wrong information ever. And COVID, he gave the stimulus, the unemployment. I'm like, you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, and I know he caused us some problems. He killed that guy in another country, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I'm like, okay. So I see that that's socially dangerous for people my age and older than me, but close to my age that are eligible to vote now. That's socially dangerous for them because they're sitting here thinking, okay, I'm gonna vote for Donald because I feel like, but they don't know. They're not, knowledgeable about politics or what he has done to us. So it's just like, oh, well, I'm gonna go vote for him because he's the only person I really seen that did something, but did the something that he did, was it right? Was it justified? They don't know that. So that was what I wanted to say, to kind of echo off of my peers saying, how it could be socially dangerous because a lot of these new adults who don't really know anything about politics, they're all gonna vote for him, not knowing that when he gets into office, he's gonna freak us all over again. So this is why we also need to help our kids, our teenagers that are almost eligible to vote, that are 13 and up. Teach them, tell them, it's based on your own suggestion, but I'm going to tell you what this person has done for us. I'm going to tell you what this person has done for us. And you let them choose from there. But at the end of the day, if we don't know these things, then how could we make our world a better place if we don't know? Because we don't know. So I would just say, that's another reason why we are a laughing stock, because when he came into office, a lot of young new adults were voting for him, not really knowing what they were doing, not really knowing who they were voting for. So now we had him in office mostly because of the young people, because I know y'all probably didn't vote for no Republican. And this is what happened. So in order to prevent that from happening again, we need to make our young people more knowledgeable about these people that are trying to run for office. And that's just that.
Biases on the side, I am completely I just like subjectiveness. If someone can say, hey, I like this, and someone's like, hey, I like that, that's fine, perfectly fine. But the reason why I don't really think Trump being in office wasn't because of what he did, it was because of the snowball effect that led to what he did. Considering when he was like, rallying for like supporters, voters, and things like that, it was just him being like, hey, I'm gonna be this president, here's what I'm gonna do, that's it. Something every other president does. But the problem wasn't really what he did, but how it ended up impacting everybody else. Like, if someone made that joke in a more casual setting, hey, that's not very good, but that's, something you could excuse with familiarity. But now that it's being more, streamlined into subjectiveness is truth, like, hey, I believe that roses are red. No matter what's inside of that, you can easily paint it blue. And all of a sudden, now all roses are blue. And honestly, all I was trying to, snowball into is just subjectiveness shouldn't be truth. No matter which way it is, the First Amendment allows everything.
Thank you, thank you. Put your hands together for the contributors. I know a lot of us have a lot to say on this topic. Let us not forget that he, on January 6th, brought a crowd to the Capitol, and he gave a speech that excited the people who came to that, and that, after the storming of the Capitol, he refused to calm them down. So there's all kinds of evidence about that his intention was to overthrow, and that's not even talking about him saying, let's hang Mike Pence. But what is, I went to a family cookout, and I remember there was, I'm going to say an in-law because we're not blood related, and I'm going to say this like this because he was telling me he was voting for Trump. For ladies that want the six-figure black man, he's it. And he has a tow trucking business where he gets contracts. So now that he voted Trump in, let's think about this, the contracts that went once in because he's a black man, because of affirmative action being struck down, because of the justices that Trump put on the court, we don't understand, as a young man said, the snowball effect of putting Trump into office. The reality is, and I said to him, all that happened to my ancestors, how can I support a man like this? We've been through too much. And a lot of this goes all the way back to the Civil War. I'll never forget this. One time I heard Jesse Jackson say, the Civil War is not yet over. And when he said that, I had to think, what do you mean the Civil War is not yet over? We are in a place, and I talked about social unrest, where there can be another civil war. In actuality, right in the article, it says that the attack on 1861, the Battle of Fort Sumter, that began the Civil War, there were less people that died that day than during January 6th. This is an unprecedented situation we're in. And they're looking at the 14th Amendment because after the Civil War, they used the 14th Amendment to bar Confederates from running again that participated in the Civil War. And so with all of this said, we have to get together. We got to get to this march. And we got to cry. We have to scream. Enough's enough. Amen? Amen. Back to the hands of our host.
Okay. Hi again. So for our last Did You Know article, we have it coming from our founder and director, Miss Ashley Sharpton, and she also has a video for you guys. So please put your hands together. She's going to be showing the video first, so just pay attention, and I'll cut the lights off for you guys.
In the last several days, where we've learned that there was an intent on behalf of the police department and an official act to actually promote the officer that shot Bernard to death using extreme indifference to human life and excessive lethal force. And we're all here to try to stop that from happening tonight and in the future, because there's no guarantees. There's been a tremendous outcry from various communities and organizations in support of Bernard Placide, including Reverend Sharpton and many other members of the black clergy, to voice their support for human life. We want to protect human life. We don't want another Bernard Placide case. blood is going to be on everyone's hands if this happens again.
Sorry, our digital tech people support is not here tonight. Okay, so can everyone repeat after me? Bernard Placide. Bernard Placide. Bernard Placide. So I know this is not a new case for those who are actual members of the National Action Network or have followed along in the last year. So for those who have been to Jersey to stand with this family, can you raise your hand if you are here in the building? Okay, let's clap them up, please. So for some, this is something that is ongoing. For some of you, this is new, so please listen up. And this will lead to an action, a call for action. This is the flyer that I'm gonna end with. There are a bunch of flyers in the back. I ask that you take this flyer when you leave. All roads lead to DC this weekend. Next weekend, all roads lead to New Jersey to stand with the Placide family. It's very, very important that, yes, this is a local issue, but this is a local issue that is also a national issue. We are going to Washington because of police reform and also for mental health reform. And to me, this case involves both of those. So the family will be coming with us to Washington, D.C., but we need to make sure that we stand with this family here locally. Okay. So this article is from June. And I'm saying that because as I was looking for articles to talk about the updates as we prepare for this action, there was a lack of information online. There was a lack of media attention, so that already shows that they're trying to move on from this issue, and they're no longer interested. And that's our jobs to advocate and to continue to keep the light on this issue, which is why we need people, we need bodies at this action that the family has called to help make everyone understand how important this is. All right. So the estate of Bernard Placide Jr., the 22-year-old man who died in September after he was shot by a police officer, has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city, alleging the officers mishandled the crisis. Police failed to recognize that Placide was having a mental or emotional breakdown, failed to bring in crisis negotiators, and after he was shot, failed to administer medical aid in a timely manner, says the lawsuit filed by Inglewood attorney Eric Kleiner. A news conference was held Monday outside the city's police headquarters where Kleiner joined Merlene Lawrence, Placide's mother, announcing that they had filed a lawsuit that morning in district court in Newark. On September 3rd, police responded to a multifamily home on West Inglewood Avenue in response to a 911 call placed by Lawrence, where she reported Placide had attacked his family. There, police officers encountered 3 victims with stab wounds and other injuries before engaging in the deadly struggle that claimed Placide's life, according to police and the lawsuit. Bernard Placide, a 22-year-old African-American, was first needlessly and excessively tasered and then callously and recklessly gunned down in his bedroom of his family's home by Inglewood police officers, reads the lawsuit. Placide was shot and killed in cold blood while he was convulsing on the floor, Kleiner said in a telephone interview after the press conference. The state attorney general's office is investigating the shooting. As it does with all police shootings, it has not released any findings as of yet. Based on records from Inglewood Hospital and other medical records, as well as partial police body cam footage, Kleiner said he and the family got a glimpse into what happened on the September 3rd night. Police officer Luana Sharp put her gun into Placide's chest and shot him, then immediately fled the scene. Kleiner said this was done after Placide had been left with no cognitive abilities after being excessively tased by Officer Brian Havlicek, Kleiner said. Officer Sharp was not in danger of serious injury or death when she shot and killed Bernard. The lawsuit also includes 1 count of racial profiling. Kleiner said if this had been a Caucasian kid from a wealthy community, there would have been de-escalation. But since he's a young black man, seen as dangerous and his life doesn't matter, he was shot in cold blood. Defendants named in the lawsuit are the City of Inglewood, the Inglewood Police Department, Sharp, Havlicek, Officer Leonji Fernandez, and part of the police chain of command. Several weeks after the shooting, the State Attorney General's office released video footage of the incident. In multiple videos taken from the responding officer's body-worn cameras and a taser gun, Inglewood police are seen responding to what the Attorney General's office has referred to as a domestic violence disturbance. There were errors made that day, Kleiner said. Rather than de-escalating the situation as Attorney General's office training requires, the officers that day escalated it. Officers wasted time not helping Placid by looking for a knife after he was shot and hindered treatment by cuffing his hands behind his back while he struggled to breathe and was bleeding. Placid had retreated into the bedroom, according to Kleiner. The officers on the scene should have been able to slow things down at that point by calling in the rapid response team, which would have taken over. If that had happened, 100% Bernard would be here today. As far as why Placid was behaving erratically on September 3rd, the lawsuit says it may have been due to head injuries he suffered while playing football for Dwight Morrow High School. Bernard had suffered a series of head injuries on the football field dating back to 2017, severe enough to cause a hospital visit and the ordering of a CT scan analysis. Bernard had frequent headaches up to the time of his death and other maladies circumstantially connected to his football head injuries, the lawsuit read. In the videos released by the Attorney General's office, Havlicek and Sharp are seen entering the building with other officers and repeatedly announcing themselves as Inglewood police, warning that they had their guns drawn as they made their way up the stairway to a second-story apartment. The officers made their way to a door at the end of the hallway that is slightly open and point their guns in the room, yelling repeated demands for someone inside, presumably Placid, to put their hands up. "Put your hands up or you're going to get shot. I'm not kidding," Havlicek yells into the room on video. Inside, a man with a large beard and unkempt hair can be seen wearing only shorts and what seems to be rubber dishwashing gloves. As Havlicek and Sharp begin to push open the door, Placid attempts to close the door. The officers push back, Havlicek fired his taser, and they force their way into the room. Placid is hit by the taser and falls to the floor, gesticulating against a dresser, which means it's like aggressive gestures he was making. His body was convulsing. Sharp and Havlicek continue to struggle with the convulsing Placid, while Sharp tightly grips Placid's right hand as he clenches it in a fist. She and Havlicek order Placid to then drop the knife multiple times. In what would appear to be footage from Sharp's own body-worn camera, a gun is held up to Placid's upper left side near his ribs while he continues to be tasered, before an indistinct gunshot is heard. The explosion blending in with the officers' yells and the clamor of the man's body banging against the dresser. Immediately after the shot was fired, Sharp, who the Attorney General's office says suffered a wound to her hand from Placid's knife, pushes her way past the other officers and out of the bedroom. She fled the scene. Sharp remains on desk duty pending the conclusion of the state's investigation, according to Inglewood City Manager Robert Hoffman, and Havlicek has returned to patrol duties. So both of the officers are still on duty, not been fired, not been dealt with, and that's why we are calling you to stand with the family for the first annual memorial service for Bernard Placid Jr. Reverend Sharpton will be a keynote speaker. Reverend Daughtry will be honored, along with Larry Ham, for those who know him from New Jersey's People's Organization for Progress, and Minister Baba Zayed of Newark Communities for Accountable Policing. There will be food and vendors, but NAN is one of the sponsors and organizations a part of it, along with People's Organization for Progress, Newark Communities for Accountability Policing, and the New Jersey Black Caucus for Social Justice. So I ask you to stand with this family, and as we go to D.C., keep them in your hearts and prayers because they are one of the reasons why we are going. The issues a part of this is two of the main reasons why we are going. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything in regards to this case or in regards to this family or to the issues, but that's what I have for the last Did You Know for today. Ron? Yep. I'm going to just put the lights back on as you come.
So I've been down there a few times, and some of you in the audience has been down there. The article explains a lot, but to hear the stories first count from the family is very grimacing. It could be you or me. When Bernard was shot by Officer Luna Sharp, they dragged his body and left the blood in the hallway. And the family had to quickly, before the mother came home, mop up his blood. The video is on YouTube. You can watch the video account if it's something that you can bear. and see it firsthand. Bernard was not a threat to the police. Bernard was actually in the corner of his bed, on the floor, sitting and cuddled up. You can tell he was having an episode. But all of us have had bouts with depression. That does not qualify us to be executed because we're dealing with a bout or an episode. So we noticed that the Attorney General and no one down there is really taking any sort of action around this situation. It's been a year, right? Jordan Neely has happened, Tyree Nichols has happened. We've seen justice in Tyree Nichols' case, but yet still Bernard's case seems to be swept under the rug. So, right, there was a question earlier, are we going to be a thermostat or are we going to be a thermometer? So it's time for us to turn up the temperature on this case. All right, we talked about the march and the Saturday after that. So please come out and support this family. They're here. Right, the Bible says, the Bible says that when you get close to God, right, that you can feel what your neighbor's going through, right? So to love your neighbor as yourself. So when you see this family, you should see yourself. And let's give them all the love we can. All right, God bless you.
Thank you, Ron.
So as I hear the issues discussed today, what I see is that it's something like people think that real life has become world star, you know, the president and his shenanigans, killing people just out of militia, trying to see if, you know, if I could get points, if I could get likes, if I could get lights, if I could get my 15 minutes of fame, and they don't care how malicious and evil it really is. You know, I joined this place because I really want to do something about this. Like, more people need to become psychologists and work on people's mind state, because the state of mind that everybody's in is programmed totally wrong. And it's being more and more and more imposed. Even A&Rs in music companies, all they want them to do. I remember when I was trying to be around one. You got to sound hard. You got to sound tough. You got to sound like this. And this is what they want to promote and continue to promote and continue to promote until that we just headed for total destruction. So, you know, we really got to work on changing and bringing that to everybody's attention and changing the unconscious mind to stop looking for entertainment with real life and blood. That's what we got to do.
Thank you, brother.
Just a slight reminder that the budget for New Jersey's, police budget, from all sources necessarily, totals to $624.5 million, most of which placed into defense for such officers in case of a knife attack. There was already establishment that all the victims were in secure locations where they were easily protected from police officers. And Bernard was in a room that he tried to shut, easily negating the damage of him being a threat. Because if a threat is hiding itself, it's not a threat, it's trying to stop itself. So then them opening the door, instigating a fight with him, and then trying to be like, hey, he's now a threat because you made him, you opened the door. You are literally wearing hundreds of millions of dollars of budget in protecting you from a knife that you then try to secure, even though there are people who are damaged from said knife. I'm not gonna say perfectly fine, definitely damaged. Obviously, that was a crime. Established, deal with it, get him in jail, due process. It's just, you can't have millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in budget to deal with a problem, only to act like it just doesn't exist and it's just clothing, it's just fashion. It's not, it protects you. That's all I had to say.
Well said. Thank you all for your comments on this issue, and definitely make sure you get this flyer before we leave, please. It's all in the back. I've seen that our co-chair, Dominique Sharpton, just came in the building, the National Director of Membership. And our senior advisor, Patrice Perry, just came. They both just came from the corporate office. Do you want to add any remarks? We don't have time for your Did You Knows, but do you want to add any remarks as we prepare to go to the March on Washington in D.C.? All right, closing remarks from Dominique Sharpton.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Sorry for my tardiness, but I've been working on the March on Washington. We have, y'all. So, from the New York City area alone, we got over 200 buses that's going to DC. That's not counting what's coming nationally. That's not counting what other partners have done. We have over 60 partners who have partnered with the March on Washington, NAACP, National Urban League, National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, the Legal Lawyers Defense Fund. We've got the Asian Pacific Caucus. We've got LULAC. We've got everyone, LGBTQ organizations, National Black Justice Coalition. We've got everyone involved because this is a coalition. This is going to be a unified march from all different backgrounds coming together to stand for justice and equality for all of us. We're fighting for human rights. So voting rights, education inequality, healthcare inequality, you name it, it's not just a black problem. This is a problem that is a universal issue because as it affects people of color, it affects the whole world, okay? And so we want to bring people together, united as one to really stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, to really call for justice, to call for attention to our matters and to the issues that we care about most. Also on legislation, we know that there is so much going on around politics and legislation. We want to stand in the gap. We want to stand up for really important pieces of legislation that is on the table now as it relates to affirmative action, as it relates to women's right to choose, as it relates to voting rights, as it relates to police misconduct and criminal justice reform. Lots of legislation on the table. So we're going to DC to stand the legislators in the face and say, hey, look at us, all of us. You have to care about our issues. And so we're going to Washington, D.C. I'm very excited. We've got an amazing day of events planned for everyone. So I hope that you're just as excited as me to stand with the coalition, to raise your voice, and to let's really be activated in the change that we wish to see. This is not a moment. This is a movement. So we're going to D.C. for this moment. But the movement will continue to live on even after we leave DC because we got a lot of work to do. And I'm telling y'all, National Action Network is being looked at as the pivotal civil rights organization in this nation. And we're going to stand true to who we are, what we've worked so hard to accomplish. And we are so excited to have all of you join us. So I hope you are excited as I am about the March on Washington. We're leaving here very early in the morning on Saturday, but we are leaving with a purpose. We're going to get up early in the name of justice. So y'all just get your rest, be ready, get your marching shoes together, dust them off, because we're going to march, and we're coming back with our plan of action, and we want everybody to be involved. So I'm excited. I hope to see y'all all in Washington, and thank you for your continued work. Let me say, just on the youth and college portion, we've got schools, HBCUs, universities. Usman Diallo for Levi Dosa, want to shout y'all out for doing a tremendous job across the country. I'm telling y'all, they got buses coming from all of these different schools across the country. We're really kicking this up, and we got to thank the NAN Youth Huddle because it started here. And we've got a lot of young people that's now rallying the call for justice with us, and we're excited about it. So I'll see y'all in DC. I'll hand the mic over, and God bless y'all. Travel safe, everyone. I'll see y'all in DC.
Thank you, Dom. This is what we do. As me being a part of the Youth Huddle and the National Action Network, our job here is to serve. And your job is to serve as well. Serve yourself, serve the community. We all help one another. We all scratch each other's backs. So with that being said, can everybody bow their heads so I can close us out in prayer? Thank you, Ron. Dear God, may we all get home safely tonight. Thank you for the knowledge that we have learned today. Thank you for the knowledge that we're going to learn on August 26th. Thank you for giving us the chance to change. Please pray for Bernard Placide's family. Hopefully I'm saying his last name right. Please pray for ourselves. Please make sure everybody get home safely today, and make sure everybody says please and thank you when they get in their food to our beautiful women, and keep us unified as one. Amen. Okay, group shot, everybody. Can everybody come to the front before we eat? Please. Yes, group shot. You know, we gotta capture the moment every Monday. Wow.